Queen, I want to be loved like my sister. I want to steal my sister's husband by force and make him mine. I don't care if he sends my sister away. Please, I need your help. How can I do this?
In a tender gesture, Queen suggested,
I know a man who can help and give you a love charm that will make him yours forever.
Once upon a time, in a quaint village in Africa named Kumasi, there resided two young ladies named Ella and Lillian. Ella, an embodiment of kindness and grace, was renowned for her warm heart that emanated through her radiant smile. Lillian, on the other hand, was a woman overflowing with love. Their journey through life took a summer turn when, at a tender age, they lost their parents, thrusting them into a world of struggle. Left orphaned and vulnerable, the sisters faced the harsh realities of life. To endure, they undertook arduous labor. Ella started doing farming for the villagers, clearing grasses in people's farms. Lillian, hugging pineapple and watermelon. Their efforts intensified by the abandonment of their mother and father's siblings. Heartbreakingly, these relatives accused them of being witches, alleging that they were responsible for the death of their parents. Rumors of this unfounded accusation spread like wildfire throughout the village, casting a dark shadow upon Ella and Lillian. That is how Ella and Lillian lived with a dark shadow casted upon them for years. Amidst the whispers of suspicion and betrayal, a compassionate man named Richard emerged from the city. Struck by love, he became enamored with Ella, and undeterred by the malicious rumors surrounding them, took it upon himself to care for the sisters. Bitter villagers, filled by envy and spite, sought to poison Richard's mind. Blinded by the purity of his affection, Richard strongly refused to listen to them. One day, the uncle who hated those ladies, filled with anger as everyone talked and Richard did not listen, sat Richard down and said to him,
Look, Richard, you need to leave those ladies and marry a responsible woman. Those ladies are witches, they kill their parents.
And Richard replied,
I have found them not guilty of those allegations. I love her, she is well-trained and hardworking. I can't leave her.
Richard, blinded by the purity of his affection, staunchly refuted these claims. His love for Ella only deepened, and he continued to stand by their side, shielding them from the venomous tongues of the villagers. Together in the face of adversity, the bond between Richard and Ella blossomed into a resilient love that defied the sorrowful rumors and anchored itself in the strength of their shared journey. Ella's life took a delightful turn when she married Richard, a man of both wealth and kindness. On their wedding day, few people attended because they did not support Richard marrying Ella. They hoped that Richard would be harmed, and they did not want to be part of their wedding memories. Despite this, their love story unfolded like a blossoming flower, with each petal holding a promise of a beautiful future together. A year later, no one had suffered harm, and Richard and Ella became more successful in their marriage. Additionally, Ella was pregnant and expecting to deliver. Ella, being the caring soul that she was, invited her younger sister, Lillian, to come live with them. She envisioned a life where Lillian would find a loving husband in the bustling city, just like Richard. She hoped for Lillian to experience the same joy and affection that she had found in her marital bliss. 4 years passed, and Ella had her first child, a boy. She was pregnant again, and life felt perfect in their home. Richard's love for Ella grew stronger, creating a heaven of warmth and understanding. However, envy started to grow within the hearts of the once close siblings. Lillian, who used to be happy for her sister, became consumed by jealousy. She wanted the love Richard gave to Ella, and her heart twisted with envy. Unable to handle the jealousy within her, Lillian came up with a bad plan to make Richard hers. Sitting in her room, she said to herself,
I want to be loved like this. Look at how handsome and rich Mr. Richard is, and still, he cooks for my sister, washes her clothes, pleases her, buys her gifts, and even feeds her, making her happy. No, I have to take this opportunity and steal this man by force from my sister. I don't care what people will say.
Fueled by misguided emotions, Lillian tried to harm Ella in different ways, but each attempt failed. While staying with her older sister, Ella, Lillian befriended a girl named Queen, who lived in the same compound. Queen had been married 5 times and divorced each time due to her troublesome and diabolic acts. Frustrated and desperate, Lillian sought solace in Queen, her newfound friend, whom everyone else avoided in the compound. Lillian confided in Queen, saying,
Queen, I want to be loved like my sister. I want to steal my sister's husband by force and make him mine. I don't care if he sends my sister away. Please, I need your help. How can I do this?
In a tender gesture, Queen suggested,
I know a man who can help and give you a love charm that will make him yours forever.
Queen proposed, seeking the assistance of a renowned witch doctor. Lillian, unfamiliar with such mystical practices and having never visited a witch doctor before, felt a deep sense of uncertainty. In the midst of her confusion, Queen, seeing Lillian's uncertainty, kindly offered to take her to a trusted witch doctor. Lillian held on to a faint hope that the witch doctor could help her by making a charm. She planned to use it to win her sister's husband over, driven by feelings of envy. The witch doctor, using dark powers, gave Lillian a substance to ruin her older sister's marital happiness. When she arrived home with the charm, she cooked their favorite meal, applied the substance to it, and served it to Ella and Richard, without knowing it had poison in its tasty smell. When they sat down to eat, the poison affected Richard's heart, turning love into hate. He became angry, blaming Ella for made-up issues, and their once happy home turned into a battleground. Lillian's desires started causing trouble. Richard and her older sister had many fights, with Richard accusing her of being involved with other men. One day, a serious fight between Richard and Ella led to Ella losing her 3-month pregnancy, resulting in a miscarriage. On that same day, Richard kicked Ella out of their home with her first child. Lillian's dream came true. Although she pretended to stay back to talk to her sister's husband and make peace. Her sister Ella, unaware of her deceitful plans, didn't know what her younger sister had in mind. Cunning and deceitful, Lillian stayed behind, filling the void left by her sister. She started cooking and taking care of her sister's husband. As months passed, Richard, the older sister's husband, fell in love with Lillian and decided to marry her with the help of the charm the witch doctor made for her. Rumors reached Ella in the village, and she felt bitter because her sister had betrayed her. Ella wondered why her sister would do this to her, but eventually accepted her fate and moved on with her life. Despite all this, the void in Lillian's heart remained unsatisfied. Even after getting what she wanted, Lillian's desire to keep her older sister's husband stayed strong. She planned to get rid of her sister for good by sending an assassin to end Ella's life. However, fate stepped in and the assassin mistakenly killed someone else. Lillian's efforts to cause harm kept failing, and her plans didn't work out. Feeling frustrated and desperate, she sank deeper into darkness, driven by a strong desire to take everything away from her sister. In a surprising turn of events, Ella, abandoned and shattered, met a wise seer during a routine trip for water. The seer revealed the sinister truth about Lillian's actions, the plot to steal her husband, and the attempts on her life. Ella felt bad. After leaving the stream, she returned home, sat in the room and cried, wondering how her sister, with whom she had faced different challenges in life, both highs and lows, could have the heart to do this evil act to her. Ella's love for her sister ended, and her determination to bring her husband back grew stronger. The next day, Ella took a bold step and went to the seer's house for a solution on how she could get her husband back. After their discussion, the seer handed Ella a task, a mystical ritual that would break the spell cast upon Richard. Determined to reclaim her love, Ella carried out the ritual with unwavering faith. Slowly, Richard awoke from the enchantment, realizing the nightmare he had lived. As he woke up, Richard found himself in bed with Lillian, the spell broken. Shocked and disgusted, he demanded answers. Lillian, cornered and exposed, lied to protect her wrongdoings, claiming that Richard has chosen her over Ella. Angry and confused, Richard left for the village, desperate to find the truth. Upon reaching their village, Richard looked for Ella, his heart heavy with regret. He apologized for the pain he had caused, begging for her forgiveness. Ella, though hurt by the betrayal, found it in her heart to forgive. Their love, tested by trials, emerged stronger than ever. Together, they went back to the city, confronting Lillian with the truth. Shocked and cornered, Lillian confessed her envy and how far she had fallen. Despite her apologies, Ella, hurt by the betrayal, kicked her sister out of their lives. The once strong sisterly bond shattered, leaving scars on their relationship. Ella, strong and wise, faced the shadows of family betrayal with resilience. She protected her heart, knowing that some wounds would take time to heal. Richard, full of remorse and determination, promised to cherish and protect Ella for the rest of their days. Lillian, weighed down by regret, went back to the village, carrying the burden of the choices she had made. As the years passed, she could not find a companion to be her husband. The villagers, knowing about the conflict between Lillian and her elder sister Ella, increased their dislike for Lillian. The lack of support left her in a state of anguish and sorrow. Enduring the agony of being subjected to ridicule, her life turned into a daily torment, with people singing mockery songs, throwing stones, pouring water and spitting at her. In the midst of this constant suffering, Lillian came up with a dark plan to end her misery and everything. She decided to go to the city, pretending to seek for forgiveness from Ella, the sister she had wronged, so that she could carry out her evil plans once more. The next day, on that fateful morning, Lillian started her journey to her older sister's house. Upon reaching Ella's residence, when Lillian saw her sister, she quickly lay on the floor, tears streaming down her regretful face. Full of remorse, Lillian begged for forgiveness, expressing deep sorrow for allowing envy to take over her. Ella looked at her beloved younger sister. Unable to resist the emotional wave, Ella embraced Lillian, wiping away her tears, and spoke words of forgiveness. However, without Ella knowing, Lillian harbored a sinister plan. In a surprising turn, Richard, Ella's husband, forgave her. This time, he insisted she would not live with them in the same house, and Ella and her husband agreed. Richard went out to look for an apartment. As Ella welcomed Lillian home and made a meal for her sister, Richard quickly rushed out and got a nice apartment for Lillian to stay. Ella offered her food. Unbeknownst to Ella, Lillian was plotting a dark deed. After they finished celebrating their reunion, they took her to her fully equipped apartment. When she got home later that night, Lillian carried out her sinister plan. She wrote a letter to her sister saying she had found peace and could not endure the pain anymore. Expressing a troubling intent, she thought about ending her own life and killing her friend, who had guided her to a practitioner of dark arts. The next day, Lillian invited her friend Queen for a joyful get-together filled with camaraderie and shared laughter. Wanting to make it a memorable occasion, Lillian carefully prepared a delicious spread for the two of them to enjoy and celebrate their friendship. However, in a surprising twist, Lillian took a dark turn by secretly adding poison to the carefully crafted food. As Queen arrived at Lillian's place, the air was filled with anticipation. Lillian, hiding her harmful plans, kindly served the poisoned meal. Both Lillian and Queen enjoyed the dead feast, leading to a tragic and untimely end for both of them. On the same day, her older sister Ella decided to check on her beloved sister Lillian. Unaware of what awaited her, Ella discovered Lillian's lifeless body when she reached her sister's place. Ella delved into the contents of the letter left behind by her deceased sister. Carefully reading the words written in the aftermath of Lillian's passing, grief overwhelmed her, and she cried bitterly, questioning why Lillian had chosen to end her own life despite being forgiven. In the end, Ella undertook the solemn responsibility of giving her sister a dignified farewell. That was how envy, jealousy, and evil friend took over her. She forgot all the suffering and how she and her older sister struggled to survive when they lost their parents at tender ages. The villagers accused them of killing their parents, but in reality, their parents died from a brief illness. The story of Ella and her younger sister Lillian spread all over the village. The villagers gathered and asked Ella for forgiveness for the accusation they made against them.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, drop your comments and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.